This is Molé Mama. Take a journey with me to my kitchen where I recreate some of my sweet Mama Rosa's best Mexican family recipes. I'll share the stories behind my grandma's magical molcajete, guacamole, crunchy tacos, mole, papas and chorizo chimichangas, Kahlua cake, crack cake, and oh so much more. You'll also get to meet guest chefs as they share the stories behind their yummy recipes. I believe that food is the sixth language of love. And if you're like me, it's your love that makes your food magical. Tune into Molé Mama on Thursdays at 6 p.m. for all the fun and love. You might want to eat first, because this show is going to make you oh so hungry. Que Dios te bendiga, as my mom would say. May God bless you. Hola, and welcome to Molé Mama Cooking with Love. We drive connection, unity, acceptance, and love across all cultures and generations. So we want to be very clear that all are welcome here, and we're delighted that you're listening. And from Mother Teresa, spread love everywhere you go, and let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. So our goal of tonight's show is to leave you a little bit more informed, a little happier. And please check out our new podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Subscribe, and please leave us a review. We'd love to hear what you think. Once again, welcome to Molé Mama Cooking with Love, where we celebrate home chefs, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, and foodies like my sweet Mama Rose and my Tia Hulu. We talk about heritage, family recipes, traditional tools like my grandma Magdalena's magical molcajete, and I remind you every week that the secret ingredient to every great recipe is our love. I want to welcome our returning listeners in the chat room. I see several of you in there. Thank you so much for joining and listening to us live. And I want to welcome anyone who's new. And please check out our Molé Mama Recipes YouTube channel. We have recipes for guacamole, crunchy tacos, enchiladas, Spanish rice, mole rojo, chimichangas, and so much more. If you have any questions about any of those recipes, please reach out on Instagram or Facebook. I'd love to help you make those successful. And tonight we have a very special guest with us. I'm so excited. She is a sister of sorts because she is a farm girl who's been educated and worked in Silicon Valley and has now gone back to her roots and is a beekeeper and doing all kinds of amazing things. So please give a warm welcome to Jessica Gonzalez from Happy Honey 420's. So, hola, Jessica, and welcome to Molé Mama.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
It's great to have you here. Before we get started with our conversation, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
I guess my sister, Rocio, I think you know her. She's always really positive and helps me keep seeing the positive in things.
That's great. So can you tell, before we get started about how this business came about, can you first share with our listeners a little bit about what your business is?
Yeah, so I make organic CBD infused products. I started off by making CBD infused raw honey. Then I went over to make an all-natural organic moisturizer. I also do a muscle salve, and now I'm doing chocolates. So it's all really about wellness and treating your body as a whole and healing it as a whole, and thinking of your products as healing you from within, and also using whole ingredients, organic ingredients.
And you started with honey, correct? Was the first thing that you started infusing was raw honey?
Yeah. So I started with raw honey, and the reason for that is my dad is a beekeeper, and actually his dad in Mexico was a beekeeper. So kind of passing down that tradition. I guess I should start from the beginning because this is kind of a long journey that I've taken. So I went to school for computer science, and after that, I worked in San Francisco for 2 years as a software developer. and I didn't feel really connected to the work. So after 2 years, I decided to leave, and I had the opportunity to start a technology company in agriculture. And I thought, agriculture, that's where I come from, so I'm sure I'll be passionate about this. And I loved doing it, and I did it for 2 years. But after 2 years, I just still felt like something was missing. So I left the company after 2 years and to be with my family here in the Central Valley. And I kind of just did like a big old loop. And so I came back, and it just so happened that at the time my mom was really sick. So I got to spend a lot of time with her before she passed, which was, great for me, perfect timing. And I got to spend a lot of time with her, and I'm grateful for that. And after I moved back, I was just kind of searching for, what I was really passionate about. And I just, tried a bunch of different things, everything from selling fruit to trying to make different apps to, whatever you could think of. I was just looking for anything that I thought, I found interesting. And that's when actually my dad got sick. So I started helping him with the beekeeping. And so, after, I don't know about you, but when I first started, I was terrified of bees. I didn't want to get stung. And the first time, I've only been stung once in my life, and I fell off my bike, I got a black eye, and I almost broke a tooth. So I was like, I was just terrified of bees at the moment when I first started. So anyway, I started beekeeping with him, and I just, after you get to know bees and their tendencies, you really start to fall in love with them, and you care about them, and you start to care about the environment, and it all seemed to fall in place for me. So it was just kind of, a perfect match. And so at the time when my dad got sick, he started taking cannabis, and the taste of cannabis is pretty bad for first timers. So I thought, why not mix it with honey? And that's kind of how it all got started.
And he has cancer. Is that what was his illness?
Yeah. So we started giving him cannabis to help manage some of his symptoms. And so, we did a lot of research into, what is good for his type of cancer, how much he should be taking, dosage, different strains, hemp versus cannabis. It's a lot of information, and it's hard to find a place you can really trust with that information, and especially if it's your family member, you want to make sure you have the right information and you're not doing something bad, to them.
Right. So can you share with the listeners a little bit, what's the difference between CBD and TCH? Because I know I've Googled it and I'm like, okay, how does this work?
Yeah, so CBD and THC are just two compounds of the cannabis plant. And typically, like high level, people think of THC as the one that gets you high. So that one is psychoactive. But it also has some medicinal benefits. So it will, as far as symptoms, it'll help with hunger. It'll help you relax. But it does give you like a psychoactive effect, which some people who are used to it and aren't using it recreationally don't really like. So CBD is another compound, and it's non-psychoactive. So no matter how much you take, it won't get you high. And that helps with just a long laundry list of things. Some of the main ones are, chronic pain, depression, anxiety, nausea, different, just a huge list of things that I was so surprised by when I started researching. And the cannabis plant is just an amazing medicinal plant.
Now, Jessica, when you started putting the CBD in honey for your father, did you see it help him?
Yeah, so he, the type that I make, I think, is a little bit too low dose for the effects that he needs. He has to take a really high concentrated amount. But, you know, after I started marketing it, and, you know, I realized a lot of people wanted it for things like anxiety or, you know, chronic pain. And they were reaching out to me because I think for some reason, adding it to honey kind of makes it like a safer place to start for most people. They don't see it as like as a drug or, you know, as a bad thing. So I think that really helped. Once I started my company, you know, people saw it as friendly and like, oh, it's, you know, honey, and, you know, it should be good for me, and it's not going to get me high, and it's not going to, you know, damage me. So I did find that, you know, adding it to the honey helped people see it differently, I guess.
Now, you also have different products in addition to the raw honey with the CBD. Is that correct? Like you also have, I believe it's a moisturizer that I keep trying to buy, but you're always sold out of. So,
yeah. So I started with the honey, and then, you know, I thought I was like on this like binge of simplifying, you know, my life. So I'm the type of person that just buy like every beauty product and try every beauty product, like everything that says like anti-aging or like help you plump up your skin. And, you know, I thought, you know, and it was just kind of stressing me out. And I was like, I need to stop buying all these things because I don't need them. I just need a really good moisturizer, something that'll work for me all the time, for all parts of my body. And I don't want to complicate my, you know, skincare regimen anymore. So I just thought, you know, why don't I just make my own, and then I'll know what's going into it, and I'll know what ingredients I'm putting in. So yeah, that's kind of how I started to make that moisturizer. And same thing with the healing, with the Sana Cell. It's like a muscle and chest rub. I thought, you know, people might want an organic alternative to something like Tiger Balm or Vapor Rub. I almost said Vaporu. So yeah, you know, a lot of those products contain byproducts of like petroleum, which, you know, I don't like putting on my skin. I don't really know the long-term effects of that, but I know that a lot of people prefer a natural version. So I thought, you know, why not make this for other people? And also we're currently using it on my dad as well, and it's helping him too with his pain. And then recently I started making these chocolates. It was just kind of like a fun idea, but I thought, you know, why not make treating, you know, anxiety or depression, or, you know, just a mood lifter, why not make it a little bit fun? So I just made these chocolates that I call happy pills. So they have CBD and some other ingredients like adaptogens. They help with stress, or they're anti-inflammatory. So they're a little pick-me-up, and you just take 2 a day.
Okay, I've got to go back to this moisturizer because I believe that it also, because I love honey. I actually don't use sugar in my coffee or anything like that. I use honey.
Yeah.
And I love avocados, and I think your moisturizer has avocados in it too.
Yeah, so I put the avocado oil. I don't use the like actual avocado because then I would have to use preservatives to keep it lasting longer. But it does have the avocado oil, and it also has a little bit of raw honey. And both of those are really good for your skin. Avocado oil is a pretty light oil, so it won't clog your pores. It also has hemp oil. So hemp oil is also anti-inflammatory, and it won't clog your pores.
I just saw one of my cousins last week, and her skin looks amazing, and she's using your product. So I went to your website, I'm like, she sold out of it again. So.
Yeah, I'm sold out, but hopefully by the end of next week, I'll have more up on the site. But I'll post an announcement on my Instagram and Facebook once we're restocked.
Okay, so let's go back for a minute. So you're from a long line, it sounds like, of beekeepers who started in Mexico, who was afraid to be bit by a bee, and now this is your business. How did you make that transition?
It's funny because I was working with my dad a lot, and he would always just tell me, what are you afraid of? They're just little bees, or what's the worst that they can do? Like, you're a lot bigger than them. So, once I kind of rationalized it in that way, it was a lot easier. And I once you start to learn about them and see that the bee population is dying, you kind of turn into like their caregiver, and you feel like you need to do something about it. So you want to care for them, and whatever you have to do, it doesn't really matter after that. So just keeping them healthy, keeping them thriving, and putting them first basically is what's most important.
That is so beautiful. One of our listeners in the chat room, Liliana, is asking if your products will help with depression and anxiety.
Yeah, so CBD, even on its own, just the oil, it helps. It helps with depression. It helps with anxiety. It kind of gives you a feeling of well-being. So I know for myself, in the mornings when I wake up, I get this like surge of like anxiety. So I just take a few drops, and I just take a deep breath. And then typically when you ingest it, it takes about 2 hours for it to, at most around 2 hours for it to kick in. So you'll start feeling a little bit more relaxed. You'll breathe easier. For me, it's been night and day. And it's helped me so much, just managing my stress, managing the depression. It just has really, I can't say enough about it. I recommend it to everybody. And not necessarily my products. You can be taking any, find some CBD company that you do like, and it's just I guarantee that it will help you in some way or another.
So I remember, because I grew up on a dairy farm, and my dad milked cows all his life, and he had had lots of accidents with cows where he lost and ended up in the hospital and had lots of aches and pains, unfortunately, as he got older.
Yeah.
And somebody, I don't remember who it was anymore, would bring him a bottle of alcohol with cannabis in it. So the leaves or the inside of it, and then he would use that. I remember being a child and seeing him rub this on his legs and on his arms and on his elbows, and he would just swear that really helped him to relieve a lot of the pain that he was in.
Yeah, and I know a few people that do that too, and that's a great way of getting it, directly to the place that's bothering you. You can take cannabis, you can ingest it, and the effects will last a few hours versus topically, which, that depends, but it might last for an hour or two, and then you'll have to reapply. And then smoking it, I think, will only last like around 2 or 3 hours. I do recommend ingesting it at some point, just because it lasts a little bit longer, and it stays in your body longer. So I think you get the most benefit that way. But I guess it just depends on what you have and what effects you want.
Okay, so now I have to ask you about your spunk, because you go to college, you get a computer science degree, you start working, then you start a business, then you start another business. Like, where does that entrepreneur spirit come from?
I always thought about that, and I wondered myself. And my dad, he came to the U.S. When he was really young, in his early 20s. And I imagine myself, I can't even imagine myself like uprooting everything and going on my own to another country and just starting a new life. and after that, after my dad had his family, he had 9 kids, he, out of necessity, he started his own produce business, and he had a lot of, he was going door to door. He had his kids selling fruit, he was just doing whatever he could to survive. And I think that's where it comes from, just realizing, whether you're, you're at a point in your life where something has to change. You just kind of go for it. And there's a little bit of fear, but most of it is like knowing that you have to change and knowing that you have to move where you're going. And for me, that was, starting that business, I felt like that was my next step. It was just a feeling, and everything for me at least seemed to line up perfectly. And I saw these signs everywhere, like, okay, this is what I need to do. And it was just reassuring when I did see those signs that it was the right move for me.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your name of your company, Happy Honey 420. Where did this come from?
Yeah, so I don't like that it has 420 at the end, just because a lot of people associate, there's like a stigma around cannabis in a lot of places still. So 420 kind of, has that stigma. But Happy Honey, I was like looking online, like what are some alternative names for cannabis. So I was just like going through a long list of things first. I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. Does this work? Does that work? And nothing seemed to stick. So I just kind of let myself sit on it for a few days. And then I was driving one day, and I thought, right now at this point in my life, I just want to be happy. So, it was just like a click in my head. I thought, oh, Happy Honey, it sounds right. It sounds fun. It sounds happy. It makes people laugh when I tell them. So I think this is the name. Every time I would like mention the name to someone, they would kind of giggle and laugh, and not like a making fun of the name sort of thing, but like, it kind of made them smile. So I thought, if the name is gonna make people smile, then it's perfect. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
It's really darling. And I read a blog post on your website about your happy bees, and I was like, I loved it.
Yeah, and we are all about keeping the bees healthy first and foremost. And we don't do anything that we think will harm them. In the Central Valley, actually, I think I want to say almost all of the almonds are grown here for the United States, if not most parts of the world. And during the almond bloom, a lot of out-of-state bees are brought in. Commercial beekeeping around here is a really big problem, not just for the bees that are being used, but also for the native bees and for bees like ours, because they're competing for food. And pesticides are used everywhere here, which is another reason the bees are dying. And it's just like it's almost like a bee massacre during that time, and it's really sad to see. So I want to urge everybody to only buy organic when possible, or if you can afford it. I know it's at a premium, but it's really important for the bees and also for the environment to buy organic and to buy local. Those are really, really important things for the bees. They don't seem that connected, but once you break it down, using pesticides kills bees. Even if you're using Roundup, which actually causes cancer to people, or any types of pesticides or anything synthetic on your plants outside, please don't do that anymore. You're going to be harming the bees, which are integral to our food system.
So can you share a little bit, like, I did not know that bees were brought in to the area. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, so bees, you need a ton of bees to pollinate almonds. So the almond trees produce a pollen, and bees need both pollen and nectar. So during that time, the bees aren't getting the nectar they need to produce their food. And so you have all of these bees from all over the country coming in. They're placed at the almond orchards, and they're not producing enough food for themselves. So it's just the beekeepers have to provide like this sugar water for them to feed off of, which isn't good for them because they get their medicine from the different flowers that they visit. So, every part of the operation is just really bad for the bees. Transporting bees, for one thing, is really bad for the colony. They get stressed out, and a lot of them die on the way, or some of them are left behind. And it's just, it's chaotic for them. They're sometimes the trees are sprayed when the bees are out and active and out in the trees, so a lot of them die that way, or they bring back those pesticides to the hives, and so I can't even begin to describe how bad it is, but it's hard to say that it needs to be stopped because almonds are a big commodity here, but yeah, so they're all brought in from different states, and it's not good for those bees, and it's not good for the local bees and the local beekeepers.
Okay, I had no idea. Okay, I'm going to go back to your name for a moment so what does the 420 mean and why don't you like it?
So, it's fine, but I think when people see 420, they automatically think like, oh, it's like recreational, when my intention is to be more medicinal. So I like to focus on more of like the healing aspects of cannabis rather than the recreational parts of it, which I'm not against, but I want to be more medicinal, I guess, in the way I sell and market my products.
Now, how did you go about becoming somebody that could grow medicinal marijuana?
So right now I'm still in the process of getting a license to grow my own. So right now I'm buying in bulk, and then that's how I'm doing it right now. So you need specific licenses to grow your own, as well as sell it. But because I'm using hemp-derived CBD, the laws are a little bit more lax. So that's how I'm able to do it right now.
And how many people do you have working for you, Jessica?
So right now it is me. My dad helps with the bees, and so I try to do all parts of the business, and I'm learning a lot, and I love learning about all of these different parts of the business. And fortunately, I got to meet the UC Merced Marketing Club. They've been so helpful so far, and they're going to help me get a team to help with my marketing. And hopefully I'll get more people then, because it's pretty hectic right now, but I'm trying my best, and trying to keep everything up in the air. So yeah, they'll have, I think, a group of students from UC Merced who are just going to be focused on helping me market, and I think like the social media aspect of the company, they'll be helping with that.
That is really outstanding.
Yeah, hopefully, one of my goals for this year is to be able to have the capacity to hire someone, or to have my business grow enough where I need somebody else. Yeah. Yeah.
So then you're actually making all your own products and putting things in jars and sealing them and labeling them?
Yeah. So right now it's all me, and I'm learning as I go. This is a completely new new thing for me. I had to, plan everything out, and I had to order everything, and it was just like things you never even thought you needed, like, I can't think of a good example, but everything from buying the jars to buying the labels to making sure the labeling is correct, to making sure your chocolates aren't going to melt in the mail. Things you don't even like. Yeah, I guess my point is, I'm learning as I go, and I'm trying my best.
Well, I think you're doing really well because, like I said, I've gone to your site a couple of times to buy this moisturizer and it's sold out. So, like, she's selling out without marketing. Okay, that's pretty awesome. So, I think that is a pretty good problem to have. I'm very excited, and you know, I'm just so inspired by you and having your own business and just going for it and learning along the way and then doing something that's going to benefit your father's health. I know that's kind of where it's from your website that you talked about why you started your business. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, I know I've read a couple of reviews about some of your products on your site. What's the most, like, in your mind, is there some review that you've gotten that you've gone like, wow, this is why I'm doing it. This is great. Can you share anything like that with our listeners?
Let me think. So, I get recently I've been getting a lot of reviews about the moisturizer. And when I first made it, I didn't think, I just thought, this moisturizer helps me, and I hope it can help at least one other person. And it's every time I get a review from the moisturizer, I'm shocked, because people say, I've had acne for the longest time, and after using this, it's really helped calm it down, or it's helped my baby with their eczema, or it's an all-purpose moisturizer. So I'm glad that it's not about the beauty side of it. For the most part, it's more about like healing the skin and making sure that your skin is not being damaged by any of the chemicals in the product. So um, I think that's really important, for any product that you use.
So how did you figure out like the recipe? How did you come up with it? Did you just experiment until something felt right? And were you testing it too? I mean, yeah, family testing it? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I actually just started with ingredients that I thought sounded good together, and I knew that were beneficial for the skin. So I thought, you know, hemp is really popular, so I'll use hemp oil, and oh, it's really great for your skin too, so that's perfect. Same thing with honey. I know, I frequently use just straight raw honey masks. So I thought, oh, why don't I just, add a little bit, so it's on there for a longer time on your skin. So that, and also avocado, avocado is really popular right now. So I use avocado oil, and oh, it's great for your skin too. So that's just kind of how I went about deciding what ingredients I would use. I made sure, everything was okay to use on the skin and it wouldn't clog pores, and I made sure everything was organic. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the ratios I did play around with to try to get the right consistency, and make sure it was like easy to spread and easy, and not too oily, and yeah, all of those things. But it was just experimenting in my kitchen, trying it out every night, every morning. I would give some to my sisters to see how they liked it. And it's funny because one of my sisters, I had all these people telling me, "Oh, I love your moisturizer. It's really changed my skin." And then I would show my sister these reviews, and she'd be really excited to try it. And then, she'd be like, "Oh, I'll try it tomorrow, or I'll try it the next day." And then she finally got to trying it, and she said it really, really helped her help the dryness in her skin.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I want to be on the secret list for when it's for sale again. So I saw my cousin Marielle, and I was like, wow, what is going on? So, yeah, and we were at a funeral, so it was stressful, and her skin looked amazing. I was bringing it up, but I'm like, wow. So she's happy, honey. Like, really?
Yeah. That's so great to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So have you gone through a similar process then with the raw honey and the CBD? Have you just trial and error as far as the quantity of CBD that you're putting into the honey?
Yeah, so with the raw honey, I did a lot of research to see, there are other companies that also do infused honey. So I just looked to see what they were doing, and I just tried out, the quantity that they had in their honeys to see if it would still like keep the flavor of the honey without not having that overpowering cannabis taste. And I thought, if most of the dosing for the honey, so the 100 milligram that we have is more of a like lower dose. So if you're looking for just like a general wellness or well-being, you would get the 100 milligram. And if you wanted something for more like anxiety or depression, you would get the higher milligram honey, which is the 200. And sometimes actually people need an even higher dosage. So if you feel like you need an even higher dosage, I would stick with the concentrated oils.
And the concentrated oils, you also ingest those?
Yeah, so those are taken sublingually, and you can just leave them under your tongue for 10, 20 seconds, and then you just swallow it. Yeah. So those are pretty easy to take. Not as fun as taking happy honey, but but yeah, those are easier to take. And like if you're just on the go and you're like, I need a quick oil. We do have a 600 milligram tincture on our website now. So if you feel like you need like a higher dosing, that would be the best one.
Now you talked about it helping with anxiety. So it's a calming, and it sounded like it was a calming effect that it gave you.
Yeah, so for me, I would describe it as like just an overall like feeling of wellness. Like you don't get high, but you just feel calmer. It's hard to describe, especially if you've had anxiety for a long time. You feel like nothing is going to help, but it just kind of relaxes you, and you feel, okay, I'm going to get through this. At least for me, it depends on each person, how you feel, but for me, that's the feeling I get.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is so fascinating. When my prima Eva said that we should have you on the show, I was like, okay, everybody's talking about CBD, and I don't know very much about it. So, because I've been having a lot of problems with one of my shoulders, and so it's like, just put CBD on it. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, people react to it differently. So I had one customer who just didn't feel the effects of CBD, and that's fine too. Sometimes people need a higher dosing of THC, and so sometimes I'll take a ratio of 1-to-1. So that just means there's the same amount of THC as there is CBD. But some people don't like that feeling, that like high feeling. So if you feel like you're not going to take that high feeling very well, I would say stay away from anything that has THC.
Well, we have listeners in the chat room who are really excited about your products, who are following you, who have started following you already. A lot of them want your moisturizer. So I'm telling you, we need to be on the secret list when it goes back up for sale.
Yeah.
And then, Liliana started following you right now. And then Elizabeth, who's listening, also, she is saying that she takes CBD every day, and it really helps with inflammation, anxiety, and so many other things, and she highly recommends it. So it definitely sounds like some of our listeners know a lot more about this than I do. So that's fantastic. And I do think that it's amazing that you're just experimenting and trying these things, and they're helping people. That's fantastic. So what's next for you?
So right now, I'm the type of person that, I feel like I have to move on to the next thing and then the next thing. So I'm trying to slow myself down and I'm just going to try to focus on these products for now. But I guess my next step is just trying to ramp up my sales specifically. So I'm going to try to focus on a different marketing strategy. And hopefully that's where the marketing club will help.
Good.
That's where I'm doing it. And any new products I create will probably be sometime in the future. But, that's my favorite part. So I'm really trying hard to hold back.
I understand. So, tell me this: does this work for sleeping?
Sorry, say that again.
For sleeping, I can go to sleep, but I don't stay asleep very long.
Oh yeah, so that's another very common thing that CBD and THC can treat. So with CBD sleeplessness, I would recommend a higher dosage. Of course, they recommend to start with a low dosage first to see how you react to it. But it definitely does help with sleeplessness. It's just like a calming. It'll have like a calming effect. So CBD does help with sleeplessness.
Okay, well, when you send me that secret list that your moisturizer is back available for sale, that's when I'll buy some of the other stuff too.
Yeah.
For sleeplessness. And trust me, somebody in the chat room just said that there needs to be a Molé Mama secret list.
Yeah.
I want to know too.
Yeah, we can make one. Yeah.
When it comes back available. So with the honey, are you using the honey in other food products as well? Like when you use it yourself, are you using it in sandwiches, or are you just taking a little bit of it and eating it?
Yeah, so for me, a lot of people put it in like their tea or coffee. I've made some desserts with it. Like I did like a baklava giveaway with the CBD honey. I'm working with a local chef that's farm to table, so she'll be creating a dessert with it as well. And then but my favorite thing to put it on, it's really simple, but it's so good. You just get a slice of toast, put some butter, and then the honey, and it's so good. It's my favorite snack dessert. It's really good.
That sounds really good. No,
Yeah,
but now you make me think of like, ooh, you could do buñuelos, and then on the buñuelos, just drizzle a little honey on that. So I'm like,
yeah, I can send you some honey so you can try. You can experiment.
That's outstanding. So let me ask you something else. So you're on the farm now, and so do you miss being in Silicon Valley at all?
Not necessarily. Like I grew up here in the Central Valley, so I'm used to the calmness of it. I like visiting bigger cities, but it's hard for me to live there. There's just too much going on. I just need a place to go home to and relax and not hear any traffic, it's so quiet here, and I love that. I love being able to just come back home and relax, like truly relax.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Santa Maria, which is on the Central Coast, very similar to Salinas. And I find that when I used to go home, my parents are both gone now, the same way. I'd be really, really calm, but I would crave coming back to the big city. So, no, I need that hustle and bustle in my life too.
Uh,
But I was curious if it was something that that you also missed. But I think it's absolutely fantastic that you're doing this. I'm so excited to see where you're going to be in a year. I can only imagine. So,
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited too. It's crazy, but it's very different from what anything I've done before. So I know I'm on the right path. It just feels right.
yeah, I cannot believe that you've overcome your fear of bees because I'm so terrified of bees too. When you were talking about, I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I actually stepped on a bumblebee once when I was playing volleyball. And
Oh no.
yeah, ended up with, and I was barefoot, of course, and ended up with just horrible welt on the bottom of my foot. But
Oh
anyway, time
no.
I see
Yeah.
bees, I'm like, no, you're really pretty.
Yeah.
Please stay away. So,
I heard that actually the bumblebees it hurts more when they sting you. Um yeah,
yeah.
so I wonder.
And I've been bit a lot more than you. You've only been bit once. And I'm like, how did she do that? I don't know. I've probably been bit like 20 times. So like,
Really?
yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm so surprised I haven't been stung again. I'm just waiting for it to happen, but I just haven't been stung yet. Not since starting working at least, with them.
So let me ask you this because my husband grew up and he talked about his mom didn't believe in giving them sugar. So she used to buy actually the honeycomb and he'd have to break off a piece of it to put it in his cereal. And he loves
Oh,
And he would be like, and there would be like wings and pieces of bees, and I'd be like sorting through the parts. I'm like, what? So you're actually a raw. You're actually taking and working with honey. Is that really true? Are there the little parts in there? Or is it easy to actually get the honey out?
so that's really funny, because sometimes we do. I mean, when you extract it, sometimes there will be like a bee here and there. So what we do is we put it in like this thing that spins, um, to to basically make the honey fly out of the comb, and then um, we just strain it through this like colander type thing, um, and we don't filter it. Most commercial honeys are filtered, so they get all the pollen, all the wax, all the like propolis, everything that's good in there gets removed. But we just lightly strain it, and it is possible for there to be like maybe a bee leg or a bee wing in the honey, but it's not the end of the world. And it's actually, you don't even see it, so it doesn't, for me it doesn't affect me. And I guess maybe because I'm used to it, but sometimes you might be able to see some parts of bees in there.
Okay, I just had to ask you because I've all this time I've been thinking that my husband is making up stories because he's a great storyteller. So I'm like, story that he loves to tell about having his cornflakes with pieces of bees, but maybe he did. So,
Yeah, especially if it was in the honeycomb, it's definitely possible. Yeah, most people just like if I see anything, I'll just cut it off. But for
okay.
the most part, yeah, for the most part, you won't see it in stores, but I believe him.
Okay. All right. We have been having so much fun, and I forgot to ask you how people can follow you. So they can go to your website, which is happyhoney420.com. And then how else can people stay in touch with you?
I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. And both of those are just Happy Honey 420. So you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and you can message me if you have any questions. It's fastest through Instagram if you have any questions rather than email. So just message me on Instagram. I'm a little bit slower through email, so if you want a quick reply, just Instagram.
Okay, and I've started following you recently on Instagram. You have great photos. Are you taking your own photographs?
Most of the photos I do take, if it's with any of my products, I've taken those, and some random ones here and there. I'll take from different places or I'll repost. But all of my product photos are mine.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, and it's all through iPhone. So
Really,
so yeah.
it's amazing. Now, there was one thing that I wanted to ask you about. I saw that you were mentioned with Green Garden SF. What is that?
So she is an artist. She's also Mexican. She's an artist out of San Francisco, and she does these like collage type of art features. So if you want something really really different and really cool, you can reach out to her. But we kind of did a trade. So I sent her some honey, and she made some art.
Oh, so that is the cool picture with the bear. Okay, now
Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah, she I believe she also has a podcast. I'm not sure what the name of it is. No, I think she has a blog or a website. She does interviews as well. But yeah, she's mainly an artist.
Well, I'm sure that this is the first mini podcast interviews for you. So I'm sure this is just the beginning.
Thank you. You get the exclusive first interview.
Yay, happy to do that. Happy to do that. All right. And I know we talked about your happy pills for just a second. And how many did you say for people to take of those? Was it two a day, one a day?
Yeah, so it's like a 30-day supply, and it comes with 60 chocolates. So you don't have to take 2 a day, but I recommend 2 a day. So one in the morning and then one in the afternoon. Some people say it gives them a little bit of like energy. So you can try taking it in the evening, but just be aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it can be a 30-day supply or it can be a 60-day supply because it comes with 60 chocolates.
Okay, and we figured out so that they won't melt when you mail them. So that's awesome.
Yes, I'm gonna be changing how I send them too, so it'll be guaranteed that they won't. Yeah. So if they do melt, just let me know, and I'll send you another one or a refund.
Okay. All right. So tell me this, with all your bees that you take care of, do you have a favorite hive?
No, I don't. But you do see like the differences in the hives once you start working with them. Some um, are a lot more active, and that can mean they're a little bit healthier. Um, Actually, it's really interesting once it gets like too hot inside the hive. A lot of them will hang out on the outside, so it kind of looks like they're having a little party. It's kind of fun to see. Sometimes it looks like they've like created a beard on the outside of the hive. Um, they're just really fun to look at. It's really fun to see when they're bringing back the pollen to their hive, because I don't know if you've seen it, but on the hind legs of the bees, that's where they collect the pollen, and they call them pollen pants. So when I first heard that, it cracked me up because I don't know, just pollen pants. Like, isn't that a funny? It's really funny to me, pollen pants. So it's really fun to see them just flying into their home with their pollen pants, ready to deposit.
Oh, I love that. That's so cute.
Yeah, it's pollen pants.
I absolutely love that. Well, as I promised, our time together has gone by way too fast, Jessica, and it has been so delightful to chat with you. And we are out of time. And I just want to, I'm so excited that we were your first podcast. And we do want to be on that secret list from when that moisturizer comes available again.
Yeah.
I just want to wish you continued success. This is so exciting. And again, I'm going to ask you to be on in a year because I know there's just going to be so many more exciting and wonderful things that you're going to accomplish in that year ahead of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, I want to thank you for listening tonight. Many thanks to our amazing producer, Ade. Remember to add the most important ingredient to every recipe you make, your love. And as my mama always said to me as we said our goodbyes, que Dios te bendiga, may God bless you. Soul to Soul with Nancy Newman is up next, so please stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in to Molé Mama Cooking with Love. Have a wonderful evening and a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Molé Mama. Remember to add love to every recipe you make. It is your secret ingredient. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and check out our YouTube channel and make those yummy recipes for your loved ones and connect and have fun and enjoy. Que Dios te bendiga. May God bless you.